The plains stretched beyond the horizon, golden under the searing late Cretaceous sun. Grasses rippled like a living ocean, broken only by clusters of conifers that had survived the dry season. The wind carried scents of dust, resin, and the distant musk of predators, an unending rhythm that pulsed through the muscles and marrow of all creatures. Draven moved across the plains with deliberate weight. His legs, sturdy as columns of stone, sank slightly into the soft earth with each step. His frill glinted in the harsh light, a crown of bone that marked him as both protector and survivor. Behind him, the herd moved as one, tails and horns brushing against one another in a quiet harmony of safety. The day had begun like any other: forage, water, vigilance, yet beneath the routine, a tension had begun to pulse through the air, subtle and insistent. Draven sensed it first not with thought, but with every vibration of the earth through his feet, every scent on the wind, every restless movement in the grasses. The air smelled of change. Across the horizon, shadows flickered, not from clouds, but from movement, too deliberate to belong to wind or light. Draven's stance stiffened. The scent of carnivore rose sharply, metallic and harsh. They were coming, the hunters, tyrannosaurs drawn by hunger, and the faint scent of weakness within the herd. He did not roar, he did not signal with voice. Instead, he positioned himself between the young and the vulnerable, planting his legs firmly, lowering his head. His frill was wide, horns tipped and gleaming. Every movement radiated immovable determination. The herd felt it. The younglings hesitated, then instinctively fell behind him. The first predator broke from the cover of distant trees, low and fast, muscles coiled for the strike. Draven pivoted with a precision born of decades, swinging a massive horned head in a calculated arc. The predator faltered, teeth clicking on empty air. Another lunged at the flank, claws raking against thick hide. Pain flashed briefly, hot and electric, but Draven pressed forward, swinging, stamping, turning instinct into a weapon honed over countless battles. The clash echoed across the plains. Dust rose in clouds. The scent of sweat and blood mixed with the temps of resin from nearby conifers. One predator fell, another retreated, wary of the impossible scale of the target. Draven did not pursue. His gaze swept the horizon, ensuring none had found another approach. The herd resumed its movement, cautious but unbroken. The younglings grazed again, glancing periodically at the sentinel whose presence alone had deterred death. Draven felt nothing akin to pride, only the enduring rhythm of survival. Days passed, each sun burning higher, the grass growing sparse in some valleys and thick in others. Water had become a precious jewel. The rivers shrank under relentless heat. Draven led the herd tirelessly, moving across plains and through riverbeds, scanning the horizon, sensing predators, noting every shift in the earth, every scent in the wind. One morning, the herd reached a ridge overlooking a broad valley, green and rich, yet dotted with the fallen forms of giant Triceratops and other herbivores claimed by famine or predation. The air was heavy with the scent of decay. Draven stepped forward, nostrils flaring, sensing both danger and opportunity. Survival demanded vigilance, yet also courage to step into the unknown. The valley offered water and food, but it was not free. Predators had already begun to mark the land, stalking silently among the shadows. Draven surveyed the perimeter. Instinct guided his movements, muscles tightening as he gauged distances and threats. Every step was measured, every grazing pause calculated to maintain safety for the herd. As the herd began to descend into the valley, the ground trembled not. A storm, not another predator, but the sound of distant herd movements. Other Triceratops, unknown, enormous, and territorial. They emerged from the haze of dust and heat, massive bodies, glinting in the sunlight, horns scraped, frills flared. Draven's instinct surged. Territory had to be defended, bloodlines had to survive. The confrontation was imminent. Draven advanced slowly, unwavering. The opposing herd bristled, a mirror of his own intent. Clash was inevitable, but instinct tempered action. The horns met with a jarring impact that shook the ground beneath them. Dust rose in spirals, and the echoes carried across the plains like distant thunder. The struggle was raw, physical, and yet neither side sought death recklessly. Strength, endurance, and determination were measured in the sway of muscle, the angle of impact, the sheer immovability of mass. Hours passed. The sun arced across the sky, beating down on Baftis slick with sweat and dust. At last, the opposing herd withdrew, conceding the valley to Draven and his charges. Nothing had been lost beyond energy and the marks of battle. Life endured. Survival prevailed. Night fell, bringing cool air and a sky streaked with stars. The herd huddled near a river, drinking slowly, moving cautiously. Draven stood slightly apart, eyes lifted to the constellations. His mind did not dwell on thought as humans might conceive it. There was no reflection, no story. Yet the instinctive awareness of legacy, of survival, of the ongoing rhythm of life, pulsed through him. The valley, for tonight, belonged to him and his herd. Lightning flashed in the distance, followed by the low growl of thunder. The storm approached, a reminder that life was never static. The herd would have to move again. The predators would return. Water would rise and fall. Grass would die and grow. Yet through it all, the great Draven endured. He endured because he was strong. He endured because the herd relied on him. He endured because he was Triceratops, and the plains had room for the giants who could withstand time's trials. Through the night, Draven remained vigilant. Every rustle, every shadow, every subtle shift in the wind was noted. The youngling slept, protected by his presence. The herd was a living extension of him, and he of them a bond not made of words, but of instinct, of survival, of enduring the weight of centuries. Morning came with rain. The storm cleansed the valley, washed the dust from horns, and filled rivers to the brim. Draven moved first, leading the herd into the renewed green, each step purposeful. The plains stretched wide, alive again with opportunity and danger alike. Predators lurked still, shadows among trees, but Draven's knowledge of the land, his awareness of every tremor and scent, made him untouchable. He was not invincible, but he was enough to ensure that life continued. The herd thrived because he walked before them, unyielding, eternal, in the rhythm of survival. Across the valley, young Triceratops ventured into sunlight, their eyes bright with instinctive wonder, their small horns gleaming in morning rain. Draven watched, immobile, a sentinel of the plains, knowing that the pulse of life would continue. Giants had fallen, storms had raged, predators had struck, yet life endured. And with each dawn, his shadow stretched across the earth, a silent testament. The plains belonged to those who endured, and the legacy of Draven would echo in every footstep of those who followed. As the sun rose higher, bathing the plains in gold, Draven lifted his head to the sky. Not pride, not thought, only presence, only awareness, only life. The world was vast, and he was part of it, a living bridge between the past and the future. A creature of instinct and endurance, a giant whose journey was far from over. The plains whispered, the rivers sang, and the wind carried the promise of another day. Draven moved forward, the herd followed, the world waited.